God, please, no! 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 No!
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the on-track series video for the Russian tier 10 medium tank, well, one of them, the Obj 430U. Now the Obj 430U is a very, very solid tier 10 medium. One of my old favourites, I say one of my old favourites, I say that for everything, it's one of my favourites. And that's because it's got good mobility, well, pretty decent mobility, it's got hard-hitting gun, it's got good armour, it's just a very good all-rounder, and I love the tank. Although, playing the games to get the ace for the tank were a nightmare for lots of reasons that I'll go over when we get to the game. So, if you haven't seen the on-track series before, this game replay video, that's the one we're looking for. This video will be in the playlist, and it'll be in a playlist with the other two so far that we've done. We're hoping that one day we'll get all of the tanks in the tech tree on-tracked in a video series with an ace tanker for every single one. Hopefully one day. But basically what we do in these videos is we get an ace tanker for every tank in a tech tree line up until the tier 10, and that way you get to see what the tank can do in its best scenarios for every tank in a tech tree line. So you'll get an ace tanker in the, say for this instance, for this line, you'll get an ace tanker for the T-34, for the A-43, the A-44, the Obj 416, the Obj 430 version 2, and the Obj 430U. So, we're starting off with the tier 5. And this is the little T-34. Say little, it's not really a little. If you've seen the tank in real life, it's definitely not little. But, yeah. We start off with the T-34. And we made mistakes a minute ago. Bad driving, my typical bad driving. We drove into a rock and lost half our health right at the beginning, because that's just what happens when you drive into rocks. Don't drive into rocks, kids. Don't do it. It's not good for your health. So the T-34 is something I compared to the Crusader in the last on-track video. And I compared the Crusader to it because of the way the gun plays and the way the gun feels when you're taking on enemy tanks. Obviously, this is a more aggressive version of the Crusader, because the Crusader has no armour and it doesn't really have that much speed, but it's very stealthy. Whereas this isn't quite as stealthy, but it has a very similar gun in the fact that you absolutely muller people with it. And you actually have some sort of armour. You've got not that much armour in general. I think it's like 45mm of armour. But the way it's all angled means you can do some crazy things. You can bounce some crazy shots. So, for the crew on the T-34, I run Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Sixth Sense, Track Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Camouflage, Expertise, I think that's what it's called, and Muffled Shot. Now I do run the camo perks on this tank because it's a little tier 5, sorry. And the little tier 5 means that you can keep yourself nice and stealthily covered behind bushes and stuff like that. And at this tier, that sort of camo really does help, because the view range saturation at this level isn't that much. A lot of tanks will struggle to see you, and that means if you can stay covered in bushes and things like that, that's great. As we're getting YOLO'd by a T-67 in a position that is very bad, because he could actually kill me if he penned me. But there's the armour on a T-34. We ricocheted the T-67, we got lucky, we survived. That's what the T-34 can do. If we were in a Crusader, we were dead then. Just thought I'd point that out while we're there. But yeah, I run the camo perks because, you know, staying stealthy at these tiers is something that always helps. But I've also got the Steady Aim and the Run and Gun perk because, well, you want to make the gun a little bit better. The gun's nice, right? But it can miss a lot because of the fact that it aims a little bit slower than it fires. So having stuff like Run and Gun and being able to keep on the move and stuff, and when you're all in tanks like this Nashorn, means that most of the time you will hit most of your shots, which is nice. Obviously you want your view range pumped up as much as possible as well, which is why I run Situational Awareness. And who doesn't want to reload faster? So the T-34 anyway is a fantastic tank. It's a fantastic little tier 5. As you see, when you take on tanks, you absolutely obliterate them with this reload. You just completely destroy them. It's absolutely fantastic. It's actually pretty accurate as well, with I think 0.34 accuracy, which is damn good at this tier. The aim time obviously is it's around 2.3, I believe, which isn't the best, but at the same time, you know, it's workable. It could be like 3 seconds, which would be awful. But the rate of fire is the true king of this tank. You completely trash tanks so badly, so quickly, it's brilliant. So right here in this situation, we got spotted as soon as we came around that corner, and we knew there wasn't that medium tank that spotted us. So it was like there could only be one thing that spotted us, and that was the TD. Unfortunately enough for me, the TD didn't shoot at me. He got wrecked. We managed to shut him down. And unfortunately, we didn't kill the artillery, but it was a very nice run around for the T-34 on Arctic region. And like I say, this tank is a very, very fun one. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play. It's really enjoyable. It's definitely worth going through. It's an absolute beast. And if you don't enjoy this tank, then there's something wrong with you, probably. So, we'll finish that again with a high caliber, ace tanker, top gun, 2.5k damage, 6 kills, 1800 base XP, and a great game for the T-34. It's definitely a hell of a lot of fun, this tank. So here we are with another very fun tank. And this is the A43, the tier 6 in the line. And this is a tank that you don't see much of. You don't see many people play it. But it's a damn good little tier 6. It's got 2 guns that you could use that are competitive. It's got the tier 5 T-34's 57mm. Or you've got this 85mm. Now this 85mm has less pen on its prem than the 57mm, and it fires a bit slower, but the thing is it's still like 3 point something seconds for 150 damage. It may be less accurate as well, right, but it shreds. And this tank never used to have this gun. They buffed it a very long time, I'm talking like years ago, right? And originally it had the 57mm or a 76mm that you could get both on the T-34, and the 57mm was just the tank, was just the gun that you used on the tank. Like there was no way you used the 76. But then they added this gun, and this gun just added an extra dimension to this tank, and it absolutely shreds. So on both tanks, by the way, because I did forget equipment, on both tanks, and it's quite consistent throughout a lot of the line, I use the rammer, vents and optics as well on these two tanks, and like I say, most of them, to be fair. And that's because, you know, boosting everything about the tank generally, and that's what you get with using those pieces of equipment, is preferable. So like boosting your DPM by 10%, then an extra couple of percent as well with the vents, and then boosting your view range as much as possible with optics paired with your situational awareness commander skill. That's what you want. And obviously the crew that I used in the T-34 is the crew that I used in this tank as well. I think I only changed it a little bit for the A44, but we'll get there when we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So the A43 really does shred with this gun, and the thing is, this gun is really good, right? It's a really mobile tank. It's got decent pen. I mean, when you're bottom tier against tier 8s, the 156 APCR penetration really can struggle. And obviously you've only got 126 standard pen as well, which, yeah, it's not the best. But when you're top tier and against tier 7s, you really can shred tanks, and it's great. And I really do enjoy this tank a lot. So, we're on mines. And we did the thing that you should always do on mines, and that is attempt to take the hill. Because, yeah, well, if you don't take the hill, what are you trying to do on mines? Because the hill is so central to the map. It's the best place to get shots across everywhere. If they try to go down the right-hand side of the map, you can counter it by being on top of the hill, by using the hill to shoot people. If they could try and go down the 1 and 2 line, you can shoot off the hill. If they base camp like what they have in this one, you can literally just wreck them. So the hill is central, and that's what we did. We rushed into position, because obviously this tank is really mobile and really good for that. We managed to rush into position perfectly in time, and we've really, really wrecked face quite hard. I mean, we're up to 2.5k damage, and we've still got tanks in front of us that we can shoot. Now, we know what's down there, right? We know there's a Steyr Waffenträger, we know there's a Challenger, And there's a KV-85 as well, and I'm pretty sure he has the big gun, which obviously will hurt, because the big gun can two-shot us. But our team has moved up, so it's time to go. We've got to move up. I'm trying to pop shots at these guys on the moves. Hopefully one day I might hit them, but I'm not at the minute. Obviously the tank doesn't have the best accuracy in the world, so the likelihood of hitting them is slim. And we're just going to get up behind them now. And we're going to just auto-aim some shots into this stave and try again. Now we've got the awkward ridge line in front of us. I aim the shot up because it was easy to auto-aim at him, and then as soon as he moved beyond the little ridge, it was like, well, I could... auto-aim could miss here, so I'm just going to aim the shot and make perfect use of the gun. So we finished that game after a nice little run around on mines in a fantastic tank. This line is so worth it. We finished with 4 kills, 3.1k damage, ace tanker, high caliber. Yeah, this line is amazing. This tank is a great tank. There's only really one bad egg in the whole line that I don't like, but generally this whole line is fantastic, and it's definitely worth grinding up to get to the top tank. So, talking of bad eggs, this is the tank I was on about, the A44. Now this tank isn't that good. I'm not a fan of the tank, and there's many reasons for this. Number one, the gun handling is pretty tragic. It's only got 3 degrees of gun depression. The gun handling is tragic. And the gun depression, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this tank. The gun depression it kills me with 3 degrees of gun depression. The fact that the aim time is so long for this tank is a bit painful. The reload's not even that great for 300 alpha at this tier. I don't know, as a tank, it's not that good. It's only really good when it's on flat. So, port is the perfect map for it. Now, when we're talking about crew skills, equipment I use the same as I did on the A43 and the T34, you know, the rammer, vents, optics. For crew skills, I did change it up a little bit for this tank, and I got rid of the muffled shot and put in snapshot, because the gun needs all the help it can get, because it's pretty shocking at times. It's okay when it's top tier, so like this match up here, it's pretty nice. But when it's bottom tier, it's really painful, because the 167 standard pen and the 217 Prem APCR pen with the bad gun handling and the bad aim time, really, you do feel it quite badly when you are bottom tier. Add to that this tank doesn't really actually have much armour. When you're facing tier 8s and 9s, they just destroy this tank. Tier 5s and 6s can bounce on it, but it's not reliable. It can side scrape, which is very nice. So you see, we're going to do that here against this T29. We're going to go for that drive wheel. Unfortunately, we don't actually... I think we actually hit the far drive wheel, which shows how stupid this gun handling can be. We actually aim for his near side track and end up hitting the drive wheel on his other side, his track on the other side. But yeah, the other thing I would probably recommend for this tank actually is camo might not be as useful on this. It does have decent concealment, but camo might not be as good on this tank as having firefighting or fire prevention. Because you see the way the tank's set out, right? The engine is in the front, so when you take shots through the front, they tend to break it, and they tend to set you on fire. And that is a pain in the backside, I can tell you that for a fact. So, yeah, it's your choice, but I just kept the concealment on, because it's nice to have that concealment sometimes. So on porting the A44, a tank that I'm not a fan of, we've loaded APCR for that T29, because we're not guaranteed to go through his upper plate. And generally, we will need to hit his lower plate to pen it with the 167 AP, right? But the 167 AP with the bad gun handling means that it's really quite difficult sometimes to actually hit your target. So you're seeing how bad this aim time is here, right? Like how long did we have to aim for that SU before we managed to get a shot off? Yeah, it's this tank. It's not the best. I mean, the 3 degrees of gun depression is something that the line continues on with past the A44 up until the 430U, but they all have a lot of other strengths that this tank just sort of lacks a little bit, to be perfectly honest. The mobility on it's pretty nice though. As you see, we're getting about 55 kilometers an hour. It's a pretty heavy tank, so it's pretty decent at ramming as well. Like I say, side scraping it's okay. It's the gun and the accuracy that lets it down a hell of a lot, as well as the gun depression. So far, we've basically crushed their northern flank on port. and we're just moving around now looking to see where our next shots of damage were. We knew there was a TD somewhere in front of us, and there we go. There's the box tank. We drive around the corner. It's like, oh god, there he is. He shuts us down. We shut him down even. We try and get a shot into the lower plate of the SU, and unfortunately we end up tracking him rather than penning him. I know we were on the move, but that was handling there, and unfortunately we don't reload in time to get a shot into that SU again, which just highlighted how bad the gun handling is with the sort of DPM. If you consider the T150 at tier 6 fires quicker than this, it's not great. But this is one of those tanks that you're going to have to get through. It does have the option of using the T34's 57mm, which can be pretty memey, but this gun is probably the one you want to use. But yeah, its gun handling is atrocious. So anyway, we finished that game on port with a nice little game for the A44. Came top, 5 kills, 2.5k damage, bit of assistance, ace tanker, steel wall. And like I say, yeah, this tank is not great. This is not one that you're going to be enjoying all that much. This is one that you're going to have to battle through to get to the good stuff. Now, talking of good tanks, this is a strange tank, okay? Because this is actually a medium tank. But really, it's a hybrid between a medium tank and a tank destroyer. Because the one thing that this tank has, apart from the fact that it's got a pretty damn nice gun with a pretty decent rate of fire, is it's got amazing camo. It's got absolutely fantastic camo, this tank, right? And it has 3 degrees of gun depression, just like the A44. But the thing is, you can actually take up a lot of positions and play a lot better, really, than the A44 using the 3 degrees of gun depression. Number one, the tank is smaller, so you don't feel it as much. But number two, the gun is just way better. That just makes everything so much better about the tank. But the fact that this tank also has absolutely unbelievably good camo means you can play really stealthily and exactly like a TD. So like, that's what I'm doing now at the minute. I'm trying to take up sort of positions that I would in a TD and get good shots down range that I know that I probably won't get spotted that easily if I fire from. Now for the crew for this tank, I do change it up a little bit again from the A44, and this time I run 6th Sense, like normal. Rapid loading, like normal. 6th Sense, exactly the same. Trap mechanic, situational awareness. Now, they're all normal perks that I will take every time. But this time, I run camouflage expertise, muffled shot, green thumb, and steady aim as well. Now, I run all of the camo perks because I want to make this camo great. I want to make the camo on this tank absolutely unbelievable. And quite frankly, I mean, I run the normal loadout of rammer, vents, and optics on this tank, right? But, and it's probably something I'm going to try out more for experimental purposes and stuff, because I've not tried it. But I could quite easily run a camouflage net, or whatever it's called now. Is it advanced concealment? I could quite easily run that. Because you could probably make the camo on this tank just so damn dank, right, where you just barely ever get spotted. Because, I mean, it's 266 meters of concealment without a camo crew. That's base when I just look at my tank, without a crew in it. So the camo crew and a camouflage net will make this tank just unbelievable with its camo. So that's something that you could run quite easily, right? And it could play to the strengths of the tank quite well. But I'm an aggressive player, so I didn't quite do that with the camo net, and I valued having the vents and the optics way more. So we've got unspotted in the 416, and we're currently sitting on this 2 line, and we're just waiting for things to get spotted. We're making things to make aggressive plays and, you know, just make mistakes and get spotted so we can shoot them. And you see, I mean, the reload on this tank isn't too bad. The accuracy on it is not too bad, which is why I don't take as many of the gun perks. Because most of the time I am going to be sitting stationary in this tank wanting to fire. I mean, 5.8 second reload is nice. It's got about 3.5 aim time, 3.5, sorry, accuracy if you run steady aim, which is good enough. It's good enough for the sniping TD. It's the same gun that you get on the T54, so it's got 201 AP pen, which the standard pen 8 for the AP isn't the best, but I mean for a tier 8 it's not too bad, to be perfectly honest. But it's got 330mm of heat pen, which is pure filth. It means when you're bottom tier and you see lots of heavily armed top tier tanks, you really do wreck them, and they're not going to survive your pen for that long. So you see here, right, I am so confident in this tank's camo that I can pop up, sit in these bushes, and farm this Pantera really quite easily. You saw the TD was spotted, he crested the ridgeline, and I fired his Pantera and still didn't get spotted. That's the effects of obviously having good camo, and as well as that, having muffled shots so that my camo rating doesn't decline as much when I'm in bushes, or when I'm firing through bushes. So that's why I'm quite happy with it. But I'm just sitting in this bush, like I say, I'm waiting for things to get spotted. We fire at the Dragon, unfortunately we get spotted as we do it. I was kind of hoping my camo would hold out, but it wasn't to be. And we get a nice shot into the Pantera on the move, but I don't sit around and wait for my tracks to get repaired there. I repair them instantly and get down into the dip, because there's definitely more stuff down there, and we don't want to get slapped up by the stuff down there, because obviously you want your hit points, you want to make sure that you've still got enough hit points to fight and carry the fight on, right? So I'm kind of sitting in an awkward place, because the bowl isn't the best place for this tank, because you don't have gun depression. You've got 3 degrees of gun depression, which means this entire fight is going to be awkward. Add to that the back-mounted turret, which means that you're not going to be poking over ridgeline turret first, you're going to be poking over that ridgeline with your engine deck first, which again, this is another tank that does like to get engine damage set on fire. It's a thing of the line. But the fact is, you're sort of supposed to play it a bit more sneaky, right? So generally you don't really want to be getting shot at that much, so I don't really carry the firefighting perk, because I'm not gonna be as aggressive in it, although I am in an aggressive position right now. And all I'm basically doing is trying to pop up and just keep moving backwards and forwards into these bushes and trying my best to spot up anything that's camping down the 1-2 and trying to give my team the vision it can. Now this Cromwell, for saying he's bottom tier, and he's stock, by the way, if you've seen his gun, it's really stubby. He is playing this spot on perfectly. He's bottom tier, right, but he's being an absolute nuisance, because he keeps popping up, he keeps spotting me, he keeps getting me lit. I can't hide in the bushes from anyone down the 1 line, down the 2 line, because he keeps popping up and spotting me. So he's doing the perfect thing here, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. And you never know, he might end up with a bit of assistance from it. But right now, I mean, I'm getting away with not getting pummeled. I mean, the artillery just missed. Unfortunately, we missed our shot on the Cromwell there. I really want to get rid of him. I'm desperate to get rid of that bloke. Unfortunately, our artillery misses as well. And I'm looking at the Iron Rain going, can I get a shot at that guy? I can't. Then this Dragon's had enough of our shenanigans in the bowl. He tries to YOLO us. We get a snapshot into him. We luckily bounced him, which is not something you should expect, because this armour on this tank is not that great. The turret can get the odd ricochet here and there, but again, like I said, the armour on it, it's not known for its armour, unlike the next tier tank in the line, which is a bit better for it. But yeah, this tank is not known for its armour, so you can't expect to bounce things. You will get, like I said, the odd ricochet, because it's just armour angling and stuff like that. But yeah, so right there, I was thinking of exiting the bowl. I was thinking, right, I might leave the bowl, but that Cromwell might spot me. So I hesitated. But then I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going. We're not going to do anything from that bowl area anymore. The game's stagnating, our team is dying in different places, so I'm changing up the angle of attack. So I got out of the bowl, we got a nice shot into the Iron Rain as we came out with auto aim, and now we're unspotted again. I'm watching this Cromwell going, is he going to give himself to me? And unfortunately, he turned just as we were about to get that shot into him, so we missed. Also, our gun depression let us down a little bit. And you're seeing now another problem with the 416, and that is the ammo count. We're down to our last 12 rounds, which is heat rounds. And it does run out of ammo. It doesn't have the best ammo count in the world. This is one of the tanks that I have one of my pools medals in, and in that game, in my pools medal game, I lost the game purely because I ran out of ammo, and I did 6.5k damage. And if I had more ammo, I would have definitely won that game that I had in it. It was a long, long, long time ago. And yeah, it can be a bit frustrating that. It's always annoying when you do run out of ammo, right? Because being limited by an ammo count in a tank is just frustrating. So finally, that Cromwell meets his maker. And that means he's gone. Then the Iron Rain gets blind fired by the artillery and shut down, which is great. Now that leaves just this UDES and artillery. We get a nice shot into the UDES. We're just waiting for the nice reload to go in. We finish off the UDES. And there's only artillery left to shut down, which we know he's going to be in that corner somewhere because he fired at us. And as we're moving in, we spot the GW Panther. We wait for him to drive into our line of fire. get a nice shot into him, wait for the reload, click, can we shut him down? Please, 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 I want to do God's work. And yeah, we shut him down. And that was a really nice game for the 416. A very good tank. This is definitely a good tank. It's definitely underrated. The camo rating's good. I mean, its camo rating's great, to be honest. And the gun is pretty damn nice as well. And with the new Crew 6.0 crew system, you can maximise this, as well as the new consumables. So we'll finish that game with an ace tanker, patrol duty, high caliber, 1964 base. We played this tank definitely a little bit more aggressive than it should be played, but it's definitely a very, very good sniper. It's definitely that hybrid between a TD and a medium. So now we're on to the bigger brother of the Obj 416. And this isn't that sniper medium TD hybrid anymore. It doesn't quite have the great concealment rating that the 416 has. It still does have good concealment rating for a tier 9 medium tank. It's still pretty damn nice, which is why I still run some of the camo perks. But it loses that amazing camo that the 416 has and gains some armour. Now the frontal armour on this tank, a lot of tanks can ricochet off the upper plate of this tank. It does just ricochet them, and it's great for that. It can also side scrape it. It's got 60mm of armour on its side, which means it can side scrape pretty much most guns in the game. It's only really going to struggle against tanks like the Death Star or the 183, because they can overmatch it with AP and stuff like that, and you want to be careful of that. Really, really high caliber guns. But yeah, the armour's great, although you've got to watch that it does get set on fire quite a bit through the lower plate, because the fuel tanks and the engine are in the front of the tank, so that can be a little bit painful, which is why with my crew skills it's pretty much the same as what there was on the 416, but instead of green thumb I run firefighting, because yeah, getting set on fire, I want to put the fire out as quick as possible. But with the 416 as well, I mean something like the 416, the 432, you could drop the muffled shot, because you are going to be playing a little bit more aggressive in it. You can be in more aggressive positions, so the likelihood is you're going to be spotted a lot more. You could drop the muffled shot quite easily and run snapshot or run and gun, just to make the gun performance that little bit better, because the gun performance on this tank is pretty damn nice. It is the same gun that you have on the 416. This is definitely the gun you want to be using, because you do have the second gun, which has got 219 pen, because you've got the same two guns that you get on the T54. But the 219 pen gun is not very good at all. This is definitely the gun you want. And in terms of the gun performance, this tank for a tier 9 with the penetration on the gun isn't the best. 201 for a tier 9 is pretty poor, to be perfectly honest. But the 330 heat pen redeems it a hell of a lot. That 330 heat pen is absolute filth. Now, one good thing that this tank has as well is a great turret, which means that if you're hull down like I kind of am here, I can actually bounce a fair amount of shots with my turret, which is great. So when I see this Gorilla light, I am, fairly confident that I can actually bounce him as I get penned by him through my turret. And I was kind of confused by that, to be honest, at this point, because I've bounced so many shells with this tank against a lot of tanks when I'm hull down, and it's really good for it. So I was quite surprised that Gorilla actually penned me. But yeah, you can be fairly confident at times when you're hull down with this tank, which is nice. But yeah, it's going to be fairly more aggressive. It does run, like I say, most of the equipment that I run on pretty much every other tank, and that is rammer, vents and optics. And I wouldn't recommend running the camo net on this. You definitely want the rammer and the vents and the optics. But yeah, the DPM on this tank is nice, the mobility is nice, the gun depression is horrible with 3 degrees like it is on the others, and it does make it a very awkward tank at times to play. But if you're on flat ground, and you're managing to keep working tanks over with this gun, like you see I'm loading the heat here and just going straight through that tortoise, it can be a very juicy tank to play, it can be very nice. So in this game on Arctic region, we're on team destruction, so even though they've got a ton of tanks that are marauding on the A line, I'm pretty confident about, I just know I don't have to go back. And that is the nice thing about team destruction. I know that I'm not going to get capped, so I can just go in. Now, we YOLO in on this tortoise with this guy, and we get a nice shot into his back, and then our good DPM comes into play, and we finish him off. We reload AP rounds, because we don't need the AP rounds for, the heat rounds, sorry, for the back of these tanks. And we're going to try and get back up behind these tanks that have flanked up the one line, so we can shut them down and get them out of the game. So as we're coming up here, we're hoping to see that Valor that was last spotted around here, but we actually see that he is YOLOing down towards our guy in the middle. We see still that there is a lot of tanks up in that northern end, and that is pretty dangerous to us, because if they decide to come back, then it could lead to some dangerous crossfires. We get a nice shot into the back of the Valor, and we're still going around trying to get a shot at him, and you're seeing the awkward gun depression that this tank has right there. Waited to get a shot into the Valor beyond the 268V5, we get a nice shot into him, and then we're on the move. Now there is 2 tanks that are in that middle area where our 268V5 is YOLOing into, but there is something that still has shots at us from over in the distance. So I was kind of playing it a bit cautious, getting behind the rock until I got unspotted, and now we're going to move in and try and help these guys that are YOLOing this heavy tank. But he gets shut down, so we're going to move towards this medium tank, and it's actually a T62A that was sat in the middle that was looking at us. We get a nice shot into him, and then we just duck down so that he can't shoot us. And now he's back behind cover. We're actually going to go up here and try and abuse this Super Conqueror a little bit. But this Super Conqueror is obviously going to be a bit of a pain in the backside, because the Super Conqueror is a very, very strong tank. And we get a nice shot to finish the T62A. And yeah, now we're into the fact that we're fighting this Super Conqueror. And obviously he's a really, really strong tank. He's got great armour. But not just that, he's also got great DPM and a great gun. We actually shut down the Kampfpanzer that was randomly in that dip as well, because it was like, okay, this guy could shoot us in the side, but now he's gone. We're going to go for the Super Conqueror. He has lost most of his health now, which is fortunate for us. But unfortunately, we don't actually get there to get any shots into him because we're getting distracted with the Kampfpanzer and shutting down the T62A. But we did get more damage on those guys, so hey, hey. And that was a really nice game for the 430 Version 2, and it is a decent tank. We ended up with 6 kills as well, which is not bad. So we ended up with a Ace Tanker, Sniper, Top Gun. Yeah, and like I said, the 416 is a very nice tank. The gun handling on it is nice, the DPM on it is nice, the armour on it can be good. It can just be a very, very awkward tank. Unlike the next tank. And the next tank is the pinnacle of the line, and that is the Obj 430U. This tank is a beast. I've loved it for ages. It was so good that it got nerfed. Although the nerf to it wasn't that much. It was like nerfing the turret rotation a little bit and nerfing the ground resistances. They were the changes it got. But on the whole, this tank is really good. And that's because it's got pretty nice mobility. It's got pretty damn good armour. It's got a pretty okay gun. Like the accuracy of the gun isn't the best, but it's hard hitting. It's got decent aim time. And it's just, as a whole package, is a very nice tank to have. And it's more like a brawling sort of tier 10 heavy than it is as much as of a medium tank. And it is great. I really do love this tank. It's a hell of a lot of fun. The armour to me did feel better pre 6.0 than it does post 6.0. And I think that's because of the penetration RNG. It does have quite a few tanks that just laugh at its armour for every now and then. But yeah. So this C4 has YOLO'd us in the 430U, and he has paid the price of YOLOing into the middle when we've got a lot of people camping at J1. He lost all of his health. We got lucky that he missed us, and we managed to shut him down generally, which is pretty nice. The gun handling on this tank can be a little bit derpy, which is why the crew skills have changed. And the equipment actually, because what I actually run on this tank is rammer, vert stabs, and optics. I run optics again because you want to boost the view range as much as possible. You're in a medium tank, you don't want to be getting out-spotted by a lot of tanks. And it's always annoying when you're in a medium tank to get out-spotted. So I run the optics instead of vents for that. It doesn't matter that the DPM's pretty poo. It means that you can just... the view range is more important to me, even though you are a brawler. The crew skills have changed as well. So I run the normal set, so like Born Leader, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Rapid Loading. But instead of all the camo skills, although this 432 does have fantastic camo. It's one of the best camos for the tier 10 meds, which is crazy. But, yeah, it does have that, but I make it so that everything else is better, like the gun handling. So you've got the standard perks, like I've said, but I actually run, obviously, as well as the steady aim to make the gun 10% better, I run snapshot and run and gun to make the gun as best as it can be. And I also run the rapid aiming as well skill, which helps increase your turret rotation by 10%. Because the turret rotation on this gun isn't very good. So that is something that is pretty nice to have. It means if you do get YOLO'd by light tanks and stuff like that, it means you can keep up with them pretty nicely. And that's why I run it. But again, the skills are all down to interpretation, it down to what you want to run. That's just what I run. And I make, because that's sort of the things that I'm uncomfortable with, like I say, like the turret rotation and stuff like that. So in this game on Cliff, we've taken the aggressive position in the bowl area. We've managed to push and get a lot of damage out. And we were going to push down and shoot at that medium tank then, and we realised at the last second and went, oh my god, that's an FE 4005. Pulled back. Fortunately enough, he missed, and we managed to finish him off. And we're already up to 3.2k damage with 886 assistance, which is really nice. We managed to finish off the 430U, and we managed to slide back up this ridgeline in case there was any TDs down there. But I actually want to get down here and spot these guys. We get a nice RBRT into the gorilla. And this ridgeline here is going to be a little bit of a friend as I get down here, because I can stay hull down as I shoot this gorilla. He's not going to repel me here because the turret on this tank is fantastic. And we are spotting these guys down here, so we're getting some assistance boosts, which is nice. We managed to get a shot into the 430 version to our younger brother and shut him down. And we're looking for shots at these guys. Now, the turret front is fantastic on this tank, but I found that quite a lot of tanks with about 270, 280 pen for some reason keep penning the front of it right next to the gun, and that's kind of annoying and something you might want to watch out for. But anyway, in this situation, I wanted to push up. I want to push up and keep spotting. These guys are all hidden. That E3 gets spotted just as I moved, and he slapped me up, which is really annoying. But I want to push up to this little spot here so that I can spot these guys and pen them and get the assistance on them as they get farmed. Now that Conway on the move managed to pen my upper plate, and that is what I'm on about there. That can be really annoying at the minute with this tank, whereas there's a lot of tanks, even like that Conway, that would have bounced, they would have just ricocheted off my upper plate, but for some reason there's a lot of tanks that keep penning it, and it's really frustrating that it does that. Now we ended up moving forward there because we spotted that E3 had a shot at us, and it was like, I'm not doing that. And we pulled forward so he couldn't shoot us. He's managed to get shut down. We managed to get a shot into the Leopard, but he tagged us as well, which is kind of annoying. But I've got this house between me and him, which is nice. So he's not going to be able to shoot me. Now he's got a medium tank YOLO in him. I'm hoping that he's going to be too distracted with him to shoot me. So we get a nice shot through his upper plate. And we're going to move on now to try and get this gorilla. Now the Leopard pokes out. It's like, okay, Leopard, I'm going to shoot you. But then he gets shut down by the chisel, unfortunately, so we don't manage to finish him off. But we know that gorilla's just fired. So it's time to get some shots into him. He ends up getting pummeled by everyone, and we managed to finish him off and get the kill on him. And we finished that game with 6k damage, 2.5k assistance because of that push down to get all the spots for our friends as they came down. And we ended up with a top gun as well, so it was another great game for the 430U. Ace tanker, high caliber, top gun. And yeah, this tank is amazing. We ended up with 1700 base XP as well. And it's definitely worth the grind. It is so good. Out of the three choices that you can get the 430U, the 430 or the K91. This is definitely one you want to consider getting. The 430 is definitely better now, but the 430U has always been one you should consider, and it's an absolute beast. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!